Have you finally found the perfect contractor after sifting and vetting through all the phonies and all these referrals that just weren't good, and now it's time to get started working with them on your renovation project? Well, keep watching and I'll share with you 5 tips you should know before getting started working with your general contractor on your renovation. Hey y'all, Dara here, real estate investor and entrepreneur out of Atlanta, Georgia. And as you saw in the intro, I'm going to share with you 5 tips on what you need to know before getting started working with a general contractor. Let's get right into it. First. In no particular order, but this is the first one I'm sharing. Be specific and detailed with your scope of work. So I would recommend getting an inspection on a property. That way the inspector gives you a laundry list of what's wrong with the property. And from that laundry list, you can devise your scope of work. Do you want to incorporate or include your contractor when you create this scope of work? Sure, you can. But what I've been told, and this is also what I'm sharing with you from my own experience, is that you're there to do the thinking for the contractor. This is no shade or no disrespect to any general contractors or anything out there working, but as the investor, as the person who is hiring that independent contractor, it is your job more or less to do the thinking for them. You don't want to leave any room for your contractor to say, oh, I thought, no, because everything should be explicit and in writing and detailed. Be so specific. I cannot stress that enough. Again, coming from my own experience, you don't want to have to, at the back end, have all these change orders or your punch list is longer than your scope of work was originally. So be very, very detailed, very specific in your scope of work. I'm talking, hey, if you say breathe, you can't just say, hey, I want you to breathe. I want you to first inhale through your nostrils and exhale through your mouth or whatever. You can't just say breathe. You have to say inhale, then exhale. So for instance, we had a situation where on the scope of work, it said install new closet doors. Okay, we found out that it should have said install new closet doors, including handles and hardware. Don't think that anything is a duh or obvious. Don't leave anything up in the air for chance, for questions or thinking. You have to do the thinking for your contractor. You have to spell it all out as elementary or remedial as you think it may be. Just do it. You rather be more detailed. That way they're never gonna have to come to you for questions. You rather be that way than every other day they're calling you, hey, did you mean this? No. Just be specific and detailed up front. In writing, always in writing. And that's even down to the dimensions and spacing the things. Just be detailed so nobody can come back and question and tell you I thought and who was right or who said, he said, she said, because it's right here in the contract on the scope of work. Number 2, you want to visit the site daily. What? I gotta be there every day. Why am I hiring a general contractor? Because you just don't know. I mean, if this is your first renovation, or even if it's your second, third, whatever it is, if you're not 110,000% comfortable with this general contractor and his crew and his subcontractors, then yes, you want to be there every step of the way when new things are happening to your rehab. Why? Because we came across a situation on one of our projects where although we had the architectural drawings with the measurements and this is where this new doorway should be carved out, we went, and thank God we did, we went in the beginning stages when they were doing the framing and realized that it was a hair too short. It was like a hair over. How did we know? Because it was in writing. It was on the drawings. It was in writing on the measurements. And we were able to stop it right. We nipped it in the bud because before they put up the sheetrock, we were able to say, hey, you need to move this over so that the doorway is open this wide and not shifted wrongly. So you definitely do want to visit it daily, also because there's gonna be times, a lot, when the contractor calls you, hey, this is wrong, we didn't know this was expected, and if you're there every day, then you're there. You don't just have to go by what they're saying. You get to see, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. You're not just charging me or trying to put in a change order for more money in your pocket. You're right. there are termites or there are issues with the floor joists and things like that. So definitely visit the site daily until you're at a point where you're so comfortable and they know you, you know them, and you tried and true and tested. If that's not the case, be there. You yourself, I know people want to delegate and hire a project manager or somebody else to go and do it. But again, I mean, so many eyes were on our project and missed the doorway being off by, you know, some inches. So if you want it done right, do it yourself sometimes. Tip number 3, ask questions and ask them often, and ask them until you receive a satisfactory answer. Okay, if there's something maybe in the scope or something in writing where it's initials and it's contractor language or jargon, again, if you're new, you're not going to know what PT lumber is, right? You can look it up in Google and sure, find out from that way to save face or whatever. But no, I'm just all about asking questions right then and there. If I don't know what you're talking about, explain it to me. Explain it to me until I'm able to understand and we're now on the same page and cool, we're moving forward. So yeah, don't be afraid to ask your contractor questions, any kind of questions about their past projects, their current projects in addition to yours, questions about, you know, good, bad, ugly, maybe advice, you know, things like that. But the main thing is to ask the question and to get the answer until you're satisfied. Tip number 4, and I need you to pay very close attention to this. Don't ever write a check. Don't ever pay your contractor until you are satisfied, 100% satisfaction with whatever work they've completed. Of course, you're gonna have a draw schedule or a payment schedule, whether it's pay them every Friday or pay them 30, whatever kind of percentage or schedule payment that you have with your contractor. Make sure it's not just, oh yeah, I said I'll pay you every Friday, here it goes. No, that comes along with you being there every day, right? So you want to make sure that you are going to bed happy at night because, hey, I went to the project today and it looked great. Cool, I can't wait to pay him on Friday, or I can't wait to pay him when all this chunk of work is done, you know? So you want to make sure that you are completely satisfied with the work before you pay for it. Think about it. When you go to, and I was gonna say a restaurant, but you kind of gotta pay regardless. But certain things, you know, you want to make sure that you are satisfied. When you go get your hair done, if it's not right, you're gonna sit in that chair until it's right, and then you pay, right? Or is that just me? Anyway, moving on. The last and final tip number 5. Avoid crossing the line between business and friendship with your contractors. Again, be human, be personable, build rapport, because you can really only do great business with people you like, know, and trust. So of course you have to like your contractor. You have to build rapport and get to know them, and you do have to trust them, and vice versa. But trust me, there is a very fine line that you don't want to cross between being buddy, chummy, that's my homie, and cracking the whip because you did not do something right? So you are still their employer. You know, they're an independent contractor. You sign the forms and the documents to say that they are working for you on this job, right? So you still have to have that sense of authority and that sense of, hey, don't smile up in my face, and I'm not going to smile up in your face when I know this work is not standard. It's not up to my standards, okay? So yeah, you can go take them out to lunch and eat. You can go whatever, but just don't cross that line. In fact, I was even told, don't do that either. Don't go to lunch with them. Don't do this and that, the third with them. Don't even smile and show teeth with them. But that's, again, up to your personality, up to your discretion, and of course that relationship that you have with your contractor. But I'm just stressing that you don't want to be so homey buddy that they're like, oh no, you know, it's just gonna be another $5,000 just for that. You know, you gotta do it. You know, when you get to talking like that with them, then that's a problem. When you get to like, man, now you know, or they're talking to you like that, then that's a problem, because we're not friends. Don't get it twisted. We're not friends. Yeah, sure. Definitely treat people with respect. The better you treat people, obviously, the more likely they are to come back and repeat business with you and do a great job and fight for you and have that loyalty to you. But just know where that line is and not to cross it. You know, I know some people who bring their contractors food for their lunch break so that, you know, they can either save money or save time not having to run to the store or take so long in their lunch break. But, you know, you break bread with them in that sense. But again, just don't be homies. That's just my personal opinion and my personal tip. Because, you know, do you do business with your friends? A lot of people realize, or a lot of people know, that doing business with friends and family kind of goes like this, right? So imagine a stranger who is a general contractor that you turn into a friend, and now you're trying to still do business with them, and it'll get ugly before it gets better. So definitely have a great working relationship with them, and that's the key word, working relationship. You want to build the rapport and the trust, but you don't want to be their friend, homie, lover, or any of that. So once you've found and vetted the contractor, these are the 5 tips that I suggest that you follow before working with them. Again, number 1, be so specific and detailed with your scope of work. Can't stress that enough. Number 2, visit the site daily until you're at a point where you've done, I want to say, 50 transactions with them. You've done 50 different projects and rehabs with them. Until then, 50, I just pulled that number out of nowhere. But you have to be extremely comfortable with them and their work ethic before you don't have to visit the site as often. Number 3 is ask questions. Keep asking until you get your satisfactory answer. Tip number 4 is do not shed a penny, a dime, a nickel. Don't spend anything until you are 110% satisfied with the work that they have completed thus far to earn that payment, you know? And then my last and final tip number 5 is don't cross the line between business and friendship when it comes to working with your general contractor. I hope these tips helped. If you liked what you heard, if you liked the tips that I've shared, like it if you like it. If you have any other tips or questions, maybe there's 5 more or 10 more that you're like, hey, you should tell the people that this is what they need to know before working with a contractor. Leave a comment. If you want to share it, and do subscribe to my channel if you feel so moved to. All right, guys, that's all I got. See you in the next one.